Thanks so much for joining us. Welcome, welcome. If you are joining us today, you are a change agent. You are somebody that's looking to make policy better, or at home, at work, in the community. And I want to say a special thank you to Lisa and Tanya for always catching the replays, even if they can't be here live. So if you're here with us today, we have an exciting announcement. The Policy Party is coming back. It's going to be a spring break party. So if you're here live or on replay, put party in the chat. We'd love to know that you've been here, and we'd love to know that you're joining us today. And this is one of my favorite times of year, as when the sun starts shining longer and we're getting closer to warmer days. That is my favorite time of the year. It's just breeds hope. And I am from a state with lots of snow. And so I always love it when we're getting closer to spring break. That always gives me a lot of joy. And this year, our spring break is going to be a lot of fun if you want to join me, because we're going to have a party. And I can't wait to tell you all about that. My name is Renee Schulte. I'm a mental health clinician by trade, and I work to create better policy in behavioral health and healthcare. I've done that as a legislator. I've done that as a lobbyist, and I've done that as an advocate. And I now am working to implement policy that makes life better for all of us, making better systems. And so if you're here, I know you care about that too. So we're excited to do that together. And another part of my journey is I really try to avoid that crash and burn. So we work on keeping ourselves healthy, because without a healthy us, we can't do anything else that we want to do. So sometimes we talk about what it takes to make us healthy also, because if I can help you avoid a crash and burn, it'll be all about it, because I'm telling you, that's no fun. So you don't want to be the crash and burn person. Been there, done that. So today, as we start February, all around the country, a whole lot of people are in the legislative session. Whether you know this or not, 50 states in America do this differently. There's not a lot of people that do it the same way, but generally speaking, session is in session the first of the year for most states. There are a few states that do year-round legislative sessions, and there are bigger states that have more full-time jobs and all of that. And even they are in session usually during this time of the year. But a lot of the part-time states like Iowa, like Nebraska, like the Dakotas are in session either every year in the spring or every other year, like North Dakota. And they still are here during this season. And a lot of that started, especially here in the Midwest, due to the agrarian culture. If you think about all the people that are farmers out there, and a lot of people needed this time as kind of the slower time as far as farming is concerned. You're not having to harvest, you're not having to be out in the fields as much. And so because of that, that's when they did this. And there's tons of citizen legislators, and a lot of them are farmers. And so it's this time of the year. But what does that mean for you? Lots of things you care about policy-wise are happening right now. There are things for good, for bad, for otherwise, right? And if you think about the federal level, that's Congress, that's happening year-round all the time. And I'm sure by now you've heard of things, whether at a state level or at the federal level, that you care about. Whether you think you care about it or not, it's going to impact you. And so we're going to talk about why should you care about issues? Because one issue big in our own state was about public school choice, whether or not people should be able to use public dollars for private schools or just for public schools, whether kids should have a choice where their money goes to support the kids. That example impacts almost everybody. If you've got kids, it impacts you. And if you pay taxes, it also impacts you. And so pretty much one policy impacts everyone collectively. Now, a lot of people don't think about that, and they just think that they are destined to have to deal with whatever policy happens. You just have to handle it. And that's not true. You as a citizen have the ability to have impact into the system and to make change and to make improvements and suggestions. But to do that, you got to know how. And that's what this is all about. We are talking about things that help you get heard so that you can have these important conversations and get things that you need done, whether that's at the city level, the county level, the state, or the federal. You have to be able to tell a message with your story that helps you make change. Otherwise, you're just going to subject yourself to whatever somebody else has decided. And nobody wants to do that. So you want to have input. So all over the country, rules and laws are being made that impact you. Just taxes is just one example, whether or not you pay more or pay less. I know this year my tax burden was high. I am paying a lot this year. So I'm paying even more attention to taxes than I really have before, because wow, that was quite the check. And so sometimes decisions that you made may favor you and you may like it better. And sometimes you may like it less, but whichever way, there's going to be issues that impact you. Let me tell you another one. In my community, my neighborhood, actually right down the hill, they're going to be putting in a community complex, like a recreation center. That is a $65 million bond vote. And a bond is borrowing money to pay for the $65 million rec center over a 20-year period. What that means is my property taxes is going to go up $300 a month for the next 20 years if we vote to install the rec center. Now, there's going to be people for that. Who's going to be for that? A lot of families with children want to have, more activities in the community, want to have a place that they could go. They're going to put in pickleball courts, things like that, right? But who might not want that? Maybe snowbirds that don't live here all the time. Maybe people on fixed income that are going to have to pay the extra taxes. And where is that going to come from? People who are already strapped with the current inflation and the current price increases in food and things like that. A lot of those people may not want that in the neighborhood, not because they don't want pickleball, but because they can't afford the extra $200-300 it might cost them a month in property taxes, right? So those kind of decisions impact you. And so whether or not you choose to get involved, that's up to you. But a lot of people sit back on the bench and complain about the decisions being made when you could have been in the arena at the table helping making some choices. So let's talk about that. So how do you do that? If you want to be somebody that gets involved and you want to be impactful, if you want to be somebody who is heard, that's what this group is all about. And I have something to tell you. We are going to have a policy party. And in that party, we're going to talk specifically about how to be heard, how to get your message out. What do you need to think about before you even try to get involved so that you can build confidence and that your message can be heard? Because that's the very first step. You need to know what you're talking about. You need to know why it's important. You need to know what people are saying about it so you can craft a message that you can give that people will want to hear and invite you back. That's the policy party. And so if you're a person that maybe you've never gotten involved, maybe you vote, or maybe you don't even vote, you have never gotten involved at all, a policy party would be just for you. Or maybe you're somebody that you've done a little bit. Maybe you know somebody in city council or on your county supervisor board and you've talked to them sometimes. Or maybe you've gone and visited the Capitol and you've advocated for an issue, but you just don't feel like it's really resonating. This is for you. And then maybe you're that seasoned veteran that you've done this a lot. Maybe you've worked in lobbying, and maybe you've got a group of people that go forward and you have worked on these issues and you know how to make change. But maybe you're looking for some tips, some tricks, some ways to work smarter, not harder, to find more work-life balance. This is going to be for you too, because I'm going to share with you exactly what it was like to be a citizen legislator and how, as a citizen, I could go and make change in the area that I cared about, which was mental health. But you could do the exact same thing in the area that you care about if you just follow the easy steps that we're going to talk about. So let's talk about what you could do here. So we're going to have a 5-day party in March. It's going to be a policy party over spring break. So for those of you like me that are going to be in your native community and not traveling for spring break, come join me. And even if you are on spring break and you're somewhere fun, you could pop in. It's only going to be 10 to 15 minutes a day. We'd love to have you join us. And I know that the last time I was on vacation, I took time to make some education as part of my vacation because it's not something I get to do all the time. So I really enjoyed that. And maybe that'll be you. So if you have time, come on, we'd love to see you. And at the party, we're going to explore what it means to create healthier policies. And what do I mean by that? That means rules. That means laws. That means policies, maybe procedures at work that makes your life better. There's a lot of things that we could do to be healthier as people. And instead, we often work too much, play too little, take too little vacation, and don't even think about what could we change. Here's an example. Maybe you're somebody at work and you have this 8 a.m. meeting that you've all gone to for forever, but 8 a.m. is really tough to get there because a lot of you maybe have to drop off kids at work, or you either have to stay home and be online to do it, but it just interferes with what time of day stuff's got to happen, right? But it's really hard, but everybody insists it has to be 8 a.m. Have you ever thought about asking, like, well, I wonder why it has to be 8 a.m.? Sometimes it's 8 a.m. because it needed to be 8 a.m. on Jim's calendar. And Jim, he retired 3 years ago. So does it really have to stay at 8 a.m.? Probably not. By now, it may just be a tradition. But the only way you're going to know is if you know to ask the question, why does this have to be? And if you can come at this whole concept from a curiosity perspective, why does this have to be like this, and ask questions, you're going to come out way ahead of so many other people. So it's going to be 7 simple pointers with quick wins that help you on your journey to find work-life balance and to figure out how to make change that impacts you at work and in your community that make your life better. It's going to be simple. It's going to be fun. You're going to want to join us. We're excited to have you there. So it's coming up in March. What I'd ask of you is, if you know somebody in your life that is frustrated with how something has happened, or they feel like nobody's listening to them, or they have a story that they need to tell people of influence, please invite them to this group. This is going to be the group for them, because we're going to talk about it in very simple terms as how you as a citizen can make a difference. And if you're a person that wants to make change and you want things to become healthier, but you just don't know how to start, where to begin, this is going to be that group. So I challenge you, invite 2 friends and let me know when you do, and we will have a big celebration for you. So everybody invite 2. We can't wait to see you there. So if you're here listening today, again, we're just announcing the party. And what's going to happen for the rest of the month? We're going to talk about some myths, some things that people get wrong about policymaking. Because maybe you're intrigued, but you're like, oh, that doesn't sound like me. Or I don't know how policy impacts my life. Or I just don't think I can make a difference. One person can't make a difference, can they? We're going to talk about that for the rest of the month. You do not want to miss this, because maybe you're just tired of being just pounded upon by all the people making decisions, and it's time for you to stand up and share your voice. And we would love to have you here. So don't forget, invite 2 friends. If you're listening today, put party in the chat, put it on your social, and let us know you were here. You can say #replay and then put party. We are glad you're here. And you're going to be hearing about this policy party all month. I look forward to meeting all your friends. Anybody that you know that's really ticked off about how government's working needs to be here. So we will see you real soon. And next week, we're going to talk about which policy mistake we make most often. And I bet you're going to be surprised at which one. So let's go make healthier policies together.